Okay, you guys, so I am doing another sauna moment today, and I wanted to go ahead and talk to you guys about a health update. I've been meaning to do this for quite a while. Of course, I have to burp right when I start. It's because I don't ever talk. That's how you know you're introverted. You just don't talk for like hours. But, anyways, so I started feeling better. I don't know what is with this health playlist, but sometimes whenever I post something, it's like it changes right after. So, pretty much right after the last update, I started to feel better. Like my kind of like high serotonin effects started to clear up. And as you guys know, I was recently going through a lot of like triggers, like particularly with my car and with all this, kind of like these emotional events. Like I was kind of locked down a little bit too, because both me and my mom's car went out like at the same time. So we didn't have any cars. And so we both kind of had to stay home and stay safe again. And that was like really weird. So it's kind of this weird like callback to a huge trigger ED wise this past month. And I would say I definitely was okay. Like, I didn't do anything in that sense. What I did do, though, is the solstice was still very, very intense. So I took a breather from weight loss. I did like maintenance calories a lot of days. And I just rested. I took a break from the gym. I didn't I just took a breather. I decided to just use the car thing and the solstice and just all of it together as like a reason to just take a break right at the hardest point. This is one of the hardest points of the year. I'd say probably now and then probably like January are like really hard as far as like hypo wise. So I decided to just let it fly, let it go for a while. And even before I stopped the deficit, I felt a lot better. And I think what's been happening is that my serotonin storm is coming to a close. So I did a live stream on here where I kind of told the story of it. But as far as this playlist, I've been dealing with the serotonin qualities and like the high serotonin feelings since I started the weight loss process. So this was back in summer of 2022. And really throughout this 2-year period, it escalated and it hit a high point probably about a year ago, and then it's been on the way down. But there's been some ups and downs. Like when I get on the deficit, it typically makes the serotonin stuff worse because I think it has to do with weight loss itself, the actual weight loss. And so I got bad again in January because I started the deficit up again because I took a breather in November and December. So, yeah, but other than that, it kind of was de-escalating for quite a while. And I feel very, like, free. I think one of the biggest things about the serotonin storm and one of the biggest struggles about weight loss in general and why a lot of people don't want to lose weight is because your serotonin goes up really high, in my opinion. And this maybe doesn't affect everybody the same way, but I think for some people, especially those who have had BED, my theory is that it makes the serotonin go very high. And so you feel very shameful and very inhibited and not free and boring and bored and all these things, which I hear a lot of FAs talk about that. And I think that there is an element to that. And I didn't know if that was ever going to end. I just kept avoiding seed oils. I kept going as far as my hypo journey. I never faltered, right? I kept counting calories. I figured that if I lost the weight, kept up my regimen, then eventually the gears would grind past it at some point. And I think that just happened. So going into summer, I was expecting it to get a lot worse because a year ago it was really, really, really bad. Like horrifically bad in July. And it was getting worse and worse going into July. So it was getting bad in May. And I was like, ugh, I was really struggling. And I was getting like hyper fixated on certain things, and, like the car, or like certain things in my romantic life. Like I was unsure about what was going on, like there's these different aspects I was starting to obsess over. And what happened is the hormonal feelings of high serotonin and obsession, they didn't ever go back to my body. It was about my car. It was about dating life. It was about external things that didn't have to do with my body. And therefore, there was no eating aspect attached to it. So that aspect is gone. I still have the hormonal side, because I still have like those obsessions and stuff. Like I can obsess over the scale or just certain things that come up with that high serotonin, but it doesn't result in any eating behavior. So I will still say my ED is gone. I'm in remission. And I've divorced that anxiety from any kind of eating behavior. So the anxiety is still there, but the ED is not. And there were times where I was missing it. I was missing the ED because I miss that sort of controlled demolition of myself, where I could kind of like gain and lose the same pounds over and over again. And it could be like a huge distraction and all these things from like difficult triggers in life. And that was gone. So I dealt with it. And right around the same time, the serotonin storm, all of a sudden, it just started to recede right around the time I posted my last update. And so I started to feel better. I started to feel more free, and it's continued. It's been like a couple weeks or so. It just got better and better. It's getting better each day. And I feel like I don't really have as much shame. I feel really creative. I feel like much more romantic, much more at ease in terms of like dating life, and just much more open than I've been, where I was so insecure when I was very serotonin-y. It made me feel so insecure. And now I don't feel insecure. I actually feel slightly confident in some ways, or like a lot better. And so I don't really, I don't feel the need to be as competitive or as extra in general. Like I think there were some times when I was in the serotonin storm, especially last year, it really hit a peak in 2023. It was pretty much like that the entire year. I would get very competitive and very insecure, and there were certain moments where I would do things to compensate for things. And as the serotonin has receded, I don't feel the need to compensate for anything. I don't feel the need to prove anything to anybody. I don't care about societal expectation, not in an unhealthy way. Like I care in the sense that like I have a higher goal. Like I want the message on my channel to spread and stuff. So I try not to act in any kind of way to demonize the message, but I don't actually care on an emotional level in terms of like approval and stuff. And I feel that way about like romantic life, about guys and things like that. Like I used to be so worried, like, is this person gonna like that I did this or not? And I would question these things, especially last year. I would question it, and I did that a lot throughout my entire relationship because I was so unwell during that whole relationship. And even after, I was still wondering about it, But now it's like, no, I'm totally over it. I feel at peace with everything that's happened. I feel moved on. I feel very okay, basically. In terms of dating, I don't feel like I'm competing with guys. I don't feel like I have to be insecure. I don't feel that way. I feel like I know where I'm at. I know that my body is not like the most banging thing in the whole world right now, but I feel like it should continue to improve. There's certain physical aspects that I feel insecure about. Like my hair is really thin, and that's also from the weight loss and the hypothyroid and everything. So I think I'm looking more towards like certain things that I'd want to change about my appearance, or certain things that I want to improve in my appearance as the weight loss continues. But I'm still at like kind of a fugly level. I think morbid obesity is a little bit fugly. I don't know how else to say that. And I'm not saying that in terms of like, oh, I hate myself for being in a fugly state. It's more so just like a fact. So you see, like I just don't have as much emotion about things in a way that is really good because it was just horrible. This sauna moment, man, it's hot, but it does help. So I'm just gonna do it. Might as well. So anyways, that's kind of what I was looking at over the past couple weeks. I feel so much more creative. I had a lot of audience capture last year. I don't feel that way at all. And most of the time, I'm getting a lot of approval from my audience, and I'm not really even trying that hard to be liked or whatever. I don't feel that pressure that I felt a year ago. And so it's really weird, but living without that serotonin storm, it's going to take an adjustment because that was 2 years. And I think a lot of people, they don't understand, these things do not just pass. It was 2 years with 1 year of escalation and 1 year of de-escalation. That's crazy. But it's gone. And I'm really shocked that it's gone. Because like I said, I feel much more open. And I think that those qualities, especially being less depressed and more open in these things, I think it's kind of like an effortless attractiveness. It just makes you more attractive because when you're so insecure and just like I was last year, it's just so not it. And then plus I didn't look as attractive either. I was, in the middle of mid fat. It just isn't attractive. So it was really a tricky time last year for me, a very insecure time. And I just feel very past it. And I'm kind of amazed and delighted and pleased that the serotonin storm is ending. That my hormones have improved and that I'm feeling more free. Now, what's the drawback of that? There is one single drawback. The drawback is that the serotonin was like a guardrail in terms of my deficit. It really killed my appetite. And it made it to where I was so obsessed with everything and so ritualistic and regimented and step by step and, extremely linear thinking, that it kept me effortlessly on track in terms of the deficit. That's not true anymore. So I'm having to rely much more on willpower now. I think that could also be why I was starting to want to eat more and stuff because my serotonin, it was shifting. And so I wasn't really using willpower for the past year to lose weight. I was relying on that hormonal gag order, that hormonal lockdown, I guess. I don't know how to put it, but that's over now. So now I have to appeal more to the Michelle McDaniel things in life. I have to appeal more to willpower, to motivation, to hard work, these types of qualities, discipline. I'm going to have to rely a lot more on those things because I'm noticing in this time, I have to rely more on my emotional health, basically. So it's I have to be careful not to be triggered or, try to keep my anxiety at bay by keeping everything going well so that I'm not just take care of things. I have to take care of practical stuff in my life. I have to make, smart, calculated decisions in terms of career and romance and just these kinds of things and just being more strategic to try to set myself up for success, really. So it's kind of like the opposite of self-sabotaging. That's what I have to do. And so that's a little tricky because nobody wants to sit here and be like, hard work, willpower. Yeah, it's kind of fugly. But my hunger's better. Taking a break from the deficit, the hunger's better. I'm just okay, we're going to rely more on willpower. I want to get this done. I had to get back off the schmorn because I went right back. As soon as that serotonin guardrail was gone, it's I went right back to a lot of these habits. And I was oh my gosh. But that's one thing too. I definitely feel kind of more hoary. I don't know how to describe it. Just kidding. That's so bad to say. No, I just feel more sexual and more flirtatious and romantic. I was talking about that earlier this year. It was coming back. And I think I had such a stick up my ass last year. So it was I don't know. That's just so not it. This year I don't. So it's it's kind of like a state of mind. And I think the body will follow. And with the more attractive state of mind comes a more attractive body, because I feel like at this point in my journey, I've understood that mental health and physical health are so linked that it's like really stupid how we separate it in Western medicine. It's like some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my entire life. But there's a lot of things that I think in Western medicine are just totally dumb. And that's one of them. So, yeah, I'll be interested to see, because I think the body takes time. So I'll be interested to see how I look like in the coming year, coming months. But I think a lot more about that type of thing. And I am considering like fashion and just certain things. Like I'm still doing Walmart chic and, you know, Jorge and stuff like that. But I'm looking more towards the future and just kind of looking at inspiration or thinking about where I want to go. Like, how do I want to style my hair when it starts growing back normally? You know, like instead of this weight loss, thin hair moment, what do I want to do when that ends? You know, because realistically, I'm probably going to be basically done with weight loss in a year. So I have like one more year. So I'm starting to think about the post-weight loss life, which I think is good to start thinking about now, because that way I can like start strategizing, implementing things and moving forward. And I'm just very motivated in general. And I'm extremely like, I'm happier. I think I'm happier. I think I'm healthier. I'm still very hypo, but I don't complain as much. I still get serotonin as well, but I can't complain as much because it's really not as bad. And with the serotonin thing, with the mental health improving, it makes like the hand feelings, the restlessness, the armpit rash, it makes it all seem kind of like pedestrian and like it doesn't matter, because the mental side is so difficult. So for that to be gone and to be able to just be creative, like making 5 videos a week and, you know, just having no issue at all, that's amazing. You know, a year ago I was struggling. I was barely posting. Like I would have to stop, and I barely had a hiccup this month, and now I'm like surging back. That's amazing. So I think like this time is definitely a turning point, and it's definitely like a pivotal moment in a good way, where I think I finally am starting to reach just a better station in life, or a better position in general. I still have a lot of work to do, but I think that things are actually getting better. And that's really all I can say. You know, I went back to the gym last night. I feel so much better mental health wise than I usually do. We'll see if this stuff continues or if it gets worse again, because I talked about it. But I'll just say definitely a high point right now, where I feel like, or definitely not a high point, but a turning point. Like I feel better in general. I just feel healthier. And I'm excited for that to start to show externally, because I feel like health happens inside first and then it comes outside. So that should be really exciting. I think we're getting to the good part. We're getting to the exciting part. You guys have seen a lot of my FUGLY journey, but we're getting to the better parts, and that's really exciting to show. So I will talk to you guys again soon. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you guys so much for all the support. I will talk to you later. Bye.